Hey everyone, and welcome back to Eternal Strands. On this video, we're doing the quest, Intertwined. Consult with the Axle to see what else can be done to aid her. Okay, we're heading back to Cassidon's Hold.
Ah, Bryn. Good to see you. Did you and Isla ever resolve things?
We did. We were actually able to finish our work together after all. She got the Ark in our camp up and running. Only for a moment, but Isla was thrilled. It'll be huge for her research on regaining control of the Arks. But she had a pretty intense argument with the Eye afterwards. I think it was a long time coming. It seems like she's finally done letting her father manipulate her.
An interesting development. Is she all right?
I think so. Let's bring her over.
Please tell me you've got a distraction for me.
Are you all right, Isla?
I'm just, a little tired, is all. Between powering an Ark by myself and confronting my father on the same day. Even as a previous High Enchantress, it took a lot out of me. I'm still working my way through it. And I need to figure out an independent power source for the Ark. It's too much to think about.
I'm sorry. Should we do this another time?
No. Please. I need distractions. Or I might be tempted to set the hold ablaze.
Fair enough. What have you got for us, Karnatame?
An issue we faced in the early days of their appearance and are now facing once again is the ability of the Surgeborn to navigate the Enclave. Put simply, they are using our Loomgate network to traverse great distances in an instant. We can't let that stand. I'm only familiar with the Loomgate's design through my parents' work on them. But Bryn recently helped us access a supply cache in the Institute, and we found something that could help. A set of schematics for a device to block the Surgeborn from using the Loomgates while keeping them accessible to us.
A way to filter out the Surgeborn without endangering Weavers. It could significantly impact their ability to fight us. How can I help?
Well, they're incomplete, and I was hoping you could tell us what's missing. Here, take a look.
Let's see... A resonance modulator.
Bryn, while she looks over the schematics, do you have any questions?
I'm going to be the one doing the dirty work. Ask where the device goes.
Where's this device going once we finish building it?
The resonance modulator should connect directly to the harness. You've already been there.
Returning to the scene of the crime. Why there?
The harness acts as a central nexus that controls not just Asylum, but our Loomgates and all of the Enclave's transit points. Hence, why you were able to use it to open up the underworks in the first place.
At least I can't unleash the Surgeborn a second time.
Small mercies.
This design was never finished. Ask why.
Why didn't they finish the schematic?
My understanding is that at that time, our bureaucracy was growing to the point of being rather unwieldy. I still grapple with the remnants of that bureaucracy every day, so I can imagine that whoever was working on these schematics... Let's just say that they were probably told to submit it to a committee before proceeding with the design.
Even though it was urgent and would have saved hundreds of lives?
For some people, propriety dictates priority. That's my guess, anyway. And, for the record, much of my life's work has been in service of streamlining that kind of bureaucracy. We cannot risk following the same path that led us to ruin.
If it was never finished, how do we know if it'll work? Prod further.
How do we know that this modulator will work?
Whoever designed this clearly knew what they were doing. It's beautiful, elegant work.
I'll say. It feels familiar, almost. I can't quite put my finger on it.
We could check through the rest of the paperwork, see if we can find out who the author is, if you'd like.
Yes. I'd love to.
I'm ready to get started. Move on.
I've had enough. The sooner we get this modulator built, the sooner we can secure the loom gates. I'm assuming you'll be the one to build this. What do I need to bring you?
To be frank, considering all your Weaver Band's achieved since you arrived, it's clear to me that you brought with you an expertise that we did not retain through the dark days of the Surge. With that in mind, I would love to leave this in your Smith's capable hands. She must have had a world-class mentor.
She's primarily self-taught, actually. But I'll pass on the compliment. She'll be thrilled to hear it.
That's astonishing. Let's go through what's needed then. For the body of the device, you'll just need some calm steel. But the rest... Do you have any preliminary thoughts, Isla?
Yes. Like you said, it's amazingly simple. What's missing from the schematics is the part that allows us to calibrate it. But it's clear in my mind what the finished design should look like. Give me a moment. There. It's like the design itself wanted me, or someone, to finish it. To calibrate it, we'll need some representative samples of Surgeborn. Let's say husk and huskhound fur. Get plenty of both.
And then I take the finished resonance modulator to the harness.
Exactly.
It should be pretty obvious where to place it, too. You'll know, if you do it right.
Gotcha. Time to hunt a few Surgeborn.
Okay, defeat Surgeborn for the needed samples, then craft the resonance modulator. But we've defeated a lot of Surgeborn, so we have everything that we need. And before we go craft that, let's talk to the Axle again.
Hey.
Bryn, I haven't known you for long, but I can tell when someone's about to ask me a frustrating question. Out with it.
You forced my hand. So, what's the deal with you and Isla?
This is a workplace. We're colleagues. We both represent a number of guilds. By the flames, we're known for working well together, as our offices command. That's all.
She's on the back foot. Raise an eyebrow. And do nothing more.
Whatever mind games you're playing, I won't be part of them. You know, I think you need to spend more time slaying Surgeborn and less time daydreaming.
But in your heart of hearts, theoretically...
This conversation is over.
Oh, we struck a nerve. Okay, I think we're ready
Khan
to...
Stanild, is now a good time to discuss the supply shortage?
Can't a man have a moment of peace between fights?
Not when the flames are licking at our feet.
We will discuss it later.
That man never wants to deal with anything. Okay, we're heading back to our camp to make the resonance modulator. And because we're going there from Cassidon's Hold, we're going to get a lot of red in the environment. Okay, Sola, I need something crafted. No, we'll talk first.
How are you feeling about our talk with Sev?
Surprisingly good. If there's one thing I know, it's when people are really listening. And that young man knows how to listen. He'll do what's right.
Okay, craft. Resonance modulator. We've got the Calm Steel, we have Husk Fragments, and Huskhound Fur. Oh, and And let's check out our new designs that we have. We've got a flame two-hander with searing cyclone. We got the fracture great helm with bonus cold resistance. All the fracture stuff has that. So fracture longfold, the fracture hand spurs, and the fracture greaves. Okay, use the resonance modulator at the harness near Liminus in Archon's Hearth.
Well, that did something. I should go check with the axle that it worked. Hope I'm not interrupting anything with her and the spindle.
Consult with the axle to report success. And we can't travel directly there because they're only hooked up directly to our camp, so we gotta go to the camp and then to the hold. Oh, and the spindle wants to talk.
Isla, I've loved watching you work on the loom gates with Kana Tomei.
Oh, yes. These changes will do wonders for the Enclave. We're making a real difference.
Oh, for sure. And the two of you get along really well.
Historically, the enchanters and the crafters haven't always aligned, but we found plenty of common ground.
How about outside of your official duties?
What do you mean?
I guess what I'm asking is, do you spend any time with her outside of work?
I'd never considered it. I tend to keep to myself. Besides, I'm sure she would rather be buried in her pile of requisitions than entertain me.
Isla, word to the wise, no one wants to be buried in requisitions.
Huh.
Look at Bran stirring stuff up. Okay. Hello, Axel.
So the curves of the metal suggest...
I definitely think an enchanter had a hand in this, as well as someone with intimate knowledge of the loom gates.
Those two people could possibly be one person even. Though I can't fathom who it would be.
Keeping yourselves busy, I see?
It's a conundrum for the ages, that's for sure.
Ah, Bryn. You're back.
You've done amazing work with the resonance modulator. I'm certain this will be a turning point for us.
Thanks. But how do you know it worked?
The loom gate started glowing a strange color before you arrived. I took it as a hint that you'd succeeded.
Spoiled the surprise.
I'm sure the Surgeborn will be plenty surprised when they next try to use the loom gates.
Suffice to say, we're thrilled, Bryn. In a short time, you've done a lot to help us. We were, obviously, a little hesitant to trust newcomers.
Our first impression wasn't the best.
But now, we're in a much better situation when it comes to survival.
It was a group effort. Emphasize that.
Happy to have helped. Without you two trusting me, I couldn't have achieved half as much. So thank you for letting me in. I'm glad to have gotten to know both of you.
It's been my pleasure, Bryn.
Likewise.
So, let's recap for a moment. 1. We've stopped Surgeborn from navigating the Loomgate network by using the resonance modulator. 2. We've made huge leaps forward in regaining control over the Arcs. 3. We've armed and supplied the Scouts.
It certainly doesn't cast our last decade of work in a forgiving light, does it?
Listen, you've been surviving this crisis for a long time the only way you knew how. But now you have a path to move forward. Your people can choose to follow it, or dwell on past mistakes. Are we ready to face this threat head-on together?
Yes. You're right. Of course you are. We're at the point, resource-wise, where we can start making moves.
I don't really want to speak to my father right now. But I agree that it's time we put pressure on him to do something. Anything. Regardless of what he does. You've earned our support, Bryn. But first, I'd actually like to steal Hirun for a while, if you don't mind. I have some notes to go over with her.
By all means. Have fun.
I suppose I'll just get right to it. Why do you treat me differently?
What do you mean?
Everyone else gets the stern you, the you who's in charge, the Axel. But I get the friendly face, the compliance, this you who I don't understand. Is it because of my dad? Because everyone answers to him? Are you trying to get close to him through me? I can't handle it, Hirun. I need to know that I'm not just being manipulated by everyone around me.
It's not because of that.
Then... what is it?
I spend time around you because I want to. To see you, to speak with you, to work alongside you. To see the look in your eyes when you solve a problem. Skies, I shouldn't... None of this is... If we could find somewhere else, beyond the gaze of the hold...
Hirun. Stop. Take my hand. And we'll go. I have a place in mind. I didn't see it before, but... I think... I would like to tell you of the ways in which you are important to me, too.
Alright, and with that, our quest is complete. Does anybody else want to chat while we're here? Oh, and we have new station upgrades available. We can take Casman's caravan, Sola's forge, and Lane's apothecary.
Drinks in the annex later.
God, after this day? Yes.
I'm in need of a cold ale myself.
Sounds like there's a party later. But yeah, we can get station upgrades. And the Eye wants to talk to us. That always goes great. Let's see what he wants to say.
Congratulations on successfully recalibrating the loom gates. It's an impressive achievement, considering your thimble broke the harness and prevented us from resetting the loom gate connections. Helping with this initiative was the least you could do for us.
It's amazing what happens when we pool our resources.
Normally, I would impose sanctions on the Axel for inviting an outsider to access the harness. A rather grave breach of protocol, if I'm being honest. But thankfully for her, this aligns with our upcoming security efforts.
And what efforts would those be?
Confidential, I'm afraid.
Ah, yes. As cheery as ever. Oh, and Spindle wants to talk.
Oh, Bryn. You were right. About the requisitions.
Obviously.
Alrighty, now let's go ahead and take a look at our codex. Even though we didn't get any new fragments, there have been new entries popping up for our friends here in the hold. So first we have Let's see. We've got one for Haroon and Isla and no others, although there will be more to come. So, Haroon Arteme is the current Axel for the Enclave, the foremost representative of the mundane arts and professions. She was born shortly after the Surge and watched her family's status and standing plummet during her youth. Her parents were specialized artisans working on loom gates, and they were forced to shift to less vaunted tasks after the loom gate network was shut down. Despite the setbacks, she was able to work her way into the leadership structure of the Guild of Crafters after becoming the High Smith, and eventually rose to its highest seat. She worked with the Weaver Band to secure supply routes for the scouts and implemented tactical improvements to the loom gates with the help of the Spindle. Speaking of the Spindle, they clearly are romantically involved now. Alright, then we have Isla Stanild. Isla Stanild is the current Spindle for the Enclave. She is the Eye's daughter, but does not see eye to eye with him on many things, including the Weaver Band's inclusion in their affairs. She doesn't like being referred to by her last name, as she does not wish to live in her father's shadow. Her research involves finding a solution to the problem of the Ark's hostility, something the Weaver Band has managed to help with. Alrighty. So with that, we're all done here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.